All right, so are you ready to dive into this whole sleep thing? We all know getting enough sleep is important, but this time we're going deep with Why We Sleep, the book by Matthew Walker.
You know it.
I think we've all heard that good sleep is important, but this book,
Yeah.
it goes way beyond just, needing to feel less groggy during the day.
Right.
Walker connects sleep to some really serious issues, like cancer, Alzheimer's, heart disease, diabetes, both physical and mental health. He even goes so far as to call sleep Mother Nature's best effort yet at contra-death.
Oh.
Makes you think, huh?
It really does reframe how we think about sleep, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because we often treat it like this optional thing, Like something we can just squeeze in when we're not busy being productive.
Yeah, like a luxury or something.
Exactly. But then when you read what Walker says about what happens when we don't get enough sleep,
Yeah, what does he say?
it's pretty alarming.
So let's get into those consequences then. We're talking more than just feeling tired or having some dark circles.
Oh, yeah, way more. We're
Wow.
talking increased risk of all those things we just mentioned.
Oh, wow.
Cancer,
Okay.
Alzheimer's, heart disease, diabetes.
So it's like across the board.
Yeah, the list goes on. Sleep deprivation, it doesn't just make you tired, it directly messes with your immune system.
Oh, wow.
You know those amyloid plaques?
Wow.
The ones that build up in the brains of Alzheimer's patients?
I've heard of them, yeah.
Sleep is like your brain's cleaning crew. It gets rid of those every night.
Okay.
But if you're skimping on sleep, they start piling up, and that increases your risk.
Gotcha. So that's like the long-term scary stuff.
Right.
But what about the short-term, like the immediate impact?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone pulls an all-nighter every now and then, right?
Sure, we've all been there.
Yeah.
But think about this. Drowsy driving accidents actually cause more deaths than those caused by alcohol and drugs combined.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how much even one night of missed sleep can mess with your reaction time.
Yeah. Your judgment, too.
Makes you really rethink those late nights.
It does.
No, that's a pretty sobering statistic.
Yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of pushing through exhaustion sometimes, but knowing the risks
Yeah.
makes it a lot harder to justify. Okay, so we know we need enough sleep.
Yeah.
But I remember in the book, Walker also talked about different types of sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like not all sleep is created equal.
Exactly. He uses this great analogy of like wading into deeper waters of sleep.
Oh, okay.
You start with lighter NREM sleep, and then you move into this deep, slow wave sleep. And then there's REM sleep, which is where dreaming happens.
Oh, okay.
Each stage has its own purpose.
So that's actually where I got a little lost in the book.
Okay.
Can we break those stages down a little more?
Sure.
In what they actually do for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
So deep NREM sleep, that's like your brain's filing system.
It's consolidating memories, moving information from short-term to long-term storage. That's also the time when your body clears out toxins. And then there's REM sleep. Right. That's where things get interesting.
Yeah, the dream state. I've always been so fascinated by dreaming. Is there any truth to the idea that dreams help us process emotions?
More than just process, it's like running simulations.
Oh, wow.
Your brain is so active during REM sleep. Walker even says it's almost psychotic.
Really?
Yeah, you're experiencing hallucinations, weird connections, but all in a safe space.
Oh, okay.
It's like your brain is playing around with ideas and emotions, trying to make sense of things.
So instead of freaking out about having like a bizarre dream, I should be thanking my brain for like doing some overnight therapy.
Exactly.
That's
It's processing, experimenting, getting ready for whatever challenges are coming the next day. But here's the thing. All of this intricate sleep architecture, these carefully timed stages, they're governed by two main things.
Okay.
Your circadian rhythm and something called adenosine.
Okay, circadian rhythm. That's like our internal clock, right?
Yeah, like our internal clock, exactly.
But adenosine, I'm not familiar with that.
Imagine it like a sleep pressure gauge. So throughout the day, as you're awake and using your brain, adenosine builds up.
Okay.
And the longer you're awake, the higher that pressure gets.
So you get sleepier and sleepier.
Exactly. And then as you sleep, your body clears it out, resetting the gauge for the next day.
So it's this constant push and pull.
Yeah.
Adenosine making us sleepy, and then sleep clearing it out so we can be alert again.
Pretty nicely. And your circadian rhythm, which is regulated by this tiny part of your brain,
Okay.
it's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus.
What?
Yeah. It's a mouthful.
Okay.
That acts as the conductor. It keeps these two systems in sync.
So does that mean things like being on our phones at night, does that mess that up?
That's right. Artificial light, especially the blue light from electronic devices, tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime.
Oh, wow.
And that suppresses melatonin production.
Yeah.
Melatonin is like the vampire hormone. It comes out when it's dark and tells your body it's time for sleep.
So, like, late night scrolling is basically telling your brain to ignore all those sleep cues.
Exactly.
No wonder so many people have trouble falling asleep.
Yeah, it's like trying to sleep in broad daylight. Your internal systems are saying sleep time,
Yeah?
but your environment is screaming, wake up! And to make things worse, our modern society has all but eliminated another natural sleep pattern.
Which is?
The midday nap.
Wait, naps aren't just for, like, toddlers and grandpas.
Ah.
Are you saying they're actually beneficial?
Biphasic sleep, meaning 2 periods of sleep per day, was actually the norm for humans for centuries.
Oh, wow.
It's still practiced in many cultures, and there's evidence that it reduces stress
Okay.
and improves cardiovascular health.
So all those years of feeling guilty about wanting a post-lunch siesta, turns out I was onto something.
Your body was probably trying to tell you what it needed. The problem is, our modern go-go-go culture often sees napping as unproductive or lazy,
Right.
even though it's deeply ingrained in our biology.
It sounds like we're fighting a losing battle against our own nature when it comes to sleep.
In many ways, we are. And the consequences are far-reaching, impacting not just our individual health, but our performance in every area of life. And it's not just our health that suffers when we don't get enough sleep. Walker dives deep into the research on sleep and performance in the book, and the results are pretty eye-opening.
Okay, now this is what I'm talking about. I'm always looking for that edge,
Yeah.
whether it's at work in the gym or just in life. Does sleep really make that much of a difference?
It's not just a little boost, it's fundamental. Walker talks about this sleep scientist, David Dinges, who did some research.
Okay.
Using a simple attention test.
An attention test,
Yeah.
like those brain games online.
It was even simpler than that. Imagine pressing a button every time you see a light flash on a screen.
Okay, yeah.
Sounds easy, right?
Yeah.
Well, he had people do this after varying levels of sleep,
Okay.
from a full 8 hours all the way down to no sleep at all.
I'm guessing the no sleep group wasn't breaking any speed records.
It was worse than that. Their reaction times absolutely plummeted, and they started missing the lights entirely.
Wow.
But here's the crazy part. Even those who got 6 hours, which a lot of people think is enough,
Yeah.
they showed a significant impairment too.
So even a little sleep deprivation can mess with your focus and reflexes?
Exactly.
Makes you wonder how many mistakes we're making every day.
Right.
Just because we're tired.
Exactly. And it's not just about hitting a button, right?
Right.
Sleep deprivation affects decision-making, memory, emotional regulation.
Yeah.
Basically all the things that make us effective humans.
Right. Okay. So if I want to be on top of my game, I need to prioritize sleep.
Definitely.
But what about people who have trouble sleeping with good habits?
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of people with insomnia or other sleep disorders.
Right. That's where things get a little more complicated. Walker talks about a whole range of sleep disorders.
Okay.
And while lifestyle changes can help, sometimes you need more specialized intervention.
Okay, so let's get into the sleep disorder landscape.
Okay.
I talked a bit about insomnia,
Yeah.
but what are some of the other ones that are out there and how do they even happen?
Well, Walker covers a lot of ground. There's sleep apnea, where your breathing actually stops and starts throughout the night.
Oh, wow.
There's narcolepsy, which causes overwhelming daytime sleepiness,
Okay.
even sudden sleep attacks.
Oh, wow.
And the causes are really varied. It
Yeah.
can be genetics, brain chemistry, even physical obstructions, like in the case of sleep apnea.
I've definitely heard of sleep apnea. Isn't that the one where people have to use those CPAP machines?
That's right. A CPAP machine helps keep the airway open.
Okay.
So people with sleep apnea can actually get a good night's sleep without those dangerous breathing interruptions.
Right.
But for other conditions, like narcolepsy, you might need medication
Okay.
or even behavioral therapies.
So it sounds like there's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to sleep disorders.
Exactly. Each one is unique and requires its own approach.
Yeah.
But one thing that Walker emphasizes is we often turn to medication too quickly,
Oh, interesting.
especially for insomnia.
I mean, there's a huge industry built around sleeping pills, isn't there?
There is, but Walker's actually pretty critical of them.
Really?
He argues they don't actually provide natural sleep. They
Well,
just kind of sedate you. So you might be unconscious,
okay.
but your brain isn't going through those vital sleep stages.
So it's like the difference between actually resting and just passing out.
Exactly. And in the long run, relying on sleeping pills can actually make insomnia worse
Oh, wow.
and create dependence. Walker's a big advocate for something called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia,
Okay.
or CBTI, as a safer and more effective alternative.
I've heard of CBT, but how does it apply to sleep?
Basically, it's about retraining your brain to think about sleep differently.
Right.
It addresses those anxious thoughts that keep you awake,
Oh, right.
helps you establish a routine,
Yeah.
and challenges all those unhelpful beliefs we have about sleep.
So instead of just masking the problem with a pill, you're tackling the root cause of insomnia.
Exactly. And studies show that CBTI can be even more effective than medication over the long term,
Oh, wow.
without the risks of side effects or dependence.
That's really encouraging. It gives people a real alternative instead of just suffering.
It does, and it highlights how interconnected our thoughts, behaviors, and biology are when it comes to sleep. But it's not just individual choices, right?
Right.
Walker also spends a lot of time in the book talking about the societal factors that are making us a chronically sleep-deprived nation.
Okay, let's get into that then.
Yeah.
I know we touched on things like blue light
Mm-hmm.
and, the demise of the siesta. But what are some of the bigger societal forces at play here?
Well, think about our 24/7 culture. The pressure to be constantly connected, constantly productive.
Always on.
Yeah, always on, exactly. And the message we often get is that sleep is for the weak.
Oh, right.
That if you're really ambitious, you'll just burn the midnight oil. But Walker argues that this mindset is so harmful,
Yeah.
not just for us as individuals, but for society as a whole.
So it's like we're all sacrificing our sleep for productivity.
Exactly, and the costs are immense.
Okay.
Walker lays out the impact of sleep deprivation on everything,
Really?
from healthcare and education to business and public safety.
Okay, yeah. I'm definitely seeing the bigger picture here. Can we break down those specific impacts?
Sure.
I'm curious to see how this actually plays out
Yeah.
in different sectors of society.
So let's start with healthcare.
Okay.
Imagine a surgeon operating on minimal sleep.
Right.
Or a nurse making these really important decisions while completely exhausted.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to think about the potential for errors.
It's like we're expecting people to be at their best when they're running on fumes. Talk about a disaster waiting to happen.
Exactly. And it's not just healthcare, right?
Right.
Studies show that sleep-deprived students don't do as well in school.
Yeah.
They have trouble focusing.
Yeah.
They're more prone to mood swings.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. All those all-nighter study sessions I pulled,
Yeah.
they never really worked.
Yeah.
I always just ended up exhausted.
Right.
And I couldn't even remember the information anyway.
Yeah, it's counterproductive. Sleep is so important for memory consolidation, for learning.
Yeah.
When we deprive students of sleep, we're not just hurting their grades. We're
Yeah.
messing with their development.
This makes me think about that whole debate over school start times.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing some research about how starting school later for teenagers could be really beneficial.
Walker's a big advocate for later school start times.
Okay.
He explains that teenagers' biological clocks are naturally shifted later, meaning they want to go to bed later and wake up later.
Right.
So if they have to get up early for school, it's basically going against their natural rhythm.
So early school start times are basically setting teenagers up for sleep deprivation.
Exactly.
No wonder so many of them are struggling.
And the consequences go way beyond school.
Yeah.
Sleep-deprived teens are at higher risk for everything.
Yeah.
From mental health issues to car accidents.
This also makes me think about the impact on the workforce.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that hustle culture,
Uh-huh.
that glorifies long hours and,
Mm-hmm.
not sleeping.
Yeah, pulling all-nighters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what's the real cost to businesses?
The cost is huge. Sleep-deprived employees are less productive.
Okay.
They make more mistakes.
Right.
They're more likely to get sick or injured.
Yeah, makes sense.
Walker cites studies that show sleep deprivation actually costs the U.S. economy billions of dollars every year.
Wow, that's a huge number.
Yeah.
It really shows how sleep deprivation isn't just a personal problem, it's an economic one.
It is. And it goes beyond economics, too.
Okay.
Walker argues that sleep deprivation contributes to a range of societal problems,
Like what?
like increased crime rates,
Oh,
a higher risk of accidents and disasters.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, when people are sleep deprived, their judgment is impaired.
Exactly.
Their reactions are slower. They're more likely to, make impulsive decisions.
Yeah, or even reckless decisions.
Right.
And, get this, Walker even connects sleep deprivation to climate change.
Whoa, climate change.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like a stretch. How does not getting enough sleep contribute to global warming?
It's complicated, but Walker suggests that sleep-deprived people tend to make worse environmental choices.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe because they're less emotionally regulated
Okay.
and more focused on immediate gratification.
Gotcha.
They're also more likely to rely on those quick fixes for energy,
Like what?
like caffeine or sugary snacks.
To try and stay awake.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
It's like when you're tired, you don't think as much about the long-term consequences.
Right.
You just want that quick energy boost,
Yeah.
even if it's not good for you or the environment.
It's a fascinating link, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it highlights how interconnected our sleep choices are
Yeah.
with the health of the planet. It's all part of this bigger picture that Walker paints of a world that's really struggling under all this chronic sleep deprivation. But he doesn't just leave us there.
Okay, good.
He also offers some hopeful solutions
Okay.
for how we can, change course
Yeah.
and reclaim our right to a good night's rest.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
All that science, all the risks, the impact on society as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
But what can we actually do about all of this? I mean, it's kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, it's definitely a complex issue, but Walker's not just, raising the alarm.
Right.
He actually offers some solutions.
Oh, good.
He lays out this multi-pronged approach.
Okay.
And it starts with something we can all do right now.
Which is?
Educating ourselves.
Okay.
And those around us.
So, spreading the word, making sure people understand just how crucial sleep is.
Exactly. We need to, dismantle this whole "I'll sleep when I'm dead" thing.
Yeah.
And replace it with respect for sleep.
Okay.
As this fundamental biological need.
Yeah.
And this education needs to start early.
Oh, interesting.
Imagine if sleep science was just a core part of the curriculum in school.
Oh, wow.
Alongside nutrition and exercise.
That would be amazing.
Right.
Yeah, so kids are growing up already understanding this stuff.
Exactly.
Making it a priority from a young age.
Yeah.
But education alone isn't going to solve everything.
Right.
We're talking about a really deep cultural mindset.
We are. Which is why Walker also suggests policy changes that actually support healthy sleep habits.
Like what?
Things like later school start times for teenagers.
Okay, yeah.
Work regulations that prevent people from working too much overtime.
Right.
Even reconsidering daylight saving time.
Oh, I'm all for that one.
Right.
I always feel like my body is so out of whack after the time changes.
Totally.
But wouldn't things like later school times create, scheduling problems for parents?
Sure.
For after-school activities and all of that? How do we balance those things?
It's definitely complicated.
Yeah.
Walker acknowledges that.
Yeah.
But he really believes that the benefits for students, their health, their well-being, even how they do in school,
Right.
it outweighs the challenges.
Right.
It might require some creative solutions, community collaboration, but ultimately prioritizing our kids' sleep.
Yeah.
That has to be non-negotiable.
That makes sense. It's about changing our priorities as a society and recognizing that sleep isn't a luxury.
Right.
It's an investment.
Yeah, in our future.
Exactly. Speaking of the future, didn't Walker talk about some pretty cool tech solutions as well?
He did, yeah. He's really excited about personalized sleep medicine.
Cool.
Imagine a world where we have technology that helps us optimize our sleep environments, our habits, all tailored to us.
Okay, now we're getting futuristic. What does that actually look like?
So think like smart lighting systems that adjust the color and intensity of the light throughout the day to optimize melatonin production.
Gotcha.
Or wearable devices that track your sleep stages and give you recommendations to improve your sleep quality.
So no more harsh blue light keeping us awake.
Right.
My phone might actually help me sleep better. That's crazy.
It's not that far off. Some of this technology is already out there.
Wow.
And it's just getting better all the time.
It's like taking all of this scientific knowledge we've gained about sleep and using it to create tools and strategies that can actually help people.
Exactly. It's harnessing the power of technology to bring our lives into alignment with our biology. But beyond the tech and the policy changes, there's also this deeper shift that needs to happen.
Okay.
We need to move away from this culture that glorifies being busy all the time
Yeah.
and not sleeping,
Right.
to one that values rest and restoration.
I love that. It's like changing the whole narrative around sleep,
Yeah.
celebrating it as a source of strength and creativity and even success.
Exactly. Imagine a world where CEOs brag about their sleep routines,
Uh-huh.
where athletes make sleep a core part of their training,
Right.
where parents show their kids how to prioritize sleep. That's the kind of transformation Walker's talking about.
I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah.
This whole deep dive has been eye-opening. It's made me realize it's not just about, feeling rested.
Uh-huh.
It's about how much sleep impacts every area of our life,
Everything.
our health, our mental well-being, even the planet.
It all comes back to sleep.
It really does.
Yeah.
This has been an incredible journey into the world of sleep.
It has.
I think we've all learned a lot.
Me too. It's been fascinating to really explore the science behind sleep,
Yeah.
the challenges, and the possible solutions.
To this whole sleep crisis that we're all facing.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up, we want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
If sleep really is Mother Nature's best effort yet at contra death, like Matthew Walker says,
Yeah.
isn't it about time we started treating it with the respect it deserves?
Sweet dreams, everyone.
Until next time, keep diving deep.